Hello, and welcome back once again, guys, to another episode of The Break with James and Carlos. We've been gone for a while, but we're back now. I think I finally figured out the kinks of this whole split screen remote recording thing. What's up, Carlos?
What's up?
What's good, man? What you got going on today?
Man, I've been playing some PUBG. I'm addicted.
PUBG, how long you been putting in this week? How many hours?
24 hours a day.
Woo! You got
I'm
any good
probably like
highlights?
8 hours a day.
You got any good
Right.
highlights?
Hmm?
You got any good highlights this week?
Yep. What was it? Before I went to Miami, I played with this one guy. He's number five in the most kills. So he had like, how many kills he had in a match? Like 28 or something like that. So I was like 28 kills. I'm like, how much the number one guy had? He said 49 kills out of
Jesus.
100 people.
See, this is what needs to happen with PUBG. They need to do the cross platform online play thing, which has been in the works for how long?
Forever.
Because I got a
Even with
PlayStation 4. I have never been able to play PUBG until I go over your place or if I go somewhere else. So all I got is Fortnite. I mean, I fuck with Fortnite, but I just don't like the building thing. You got to
mm,
put in so much time to learn how to build, and I mean it's fun, but you really got to earn that shit. You know what I mean?
we will not say anything negative about Fortnite
Yeah,
on
man.
this podcast.
Yeah,
I love
man.
Fortnite and I love PUBG
But
equally.
let's get on the topic at hand. All right, so me and Carlos were chatting the other day, and we realized something that's going on in the media and everything else, and it's this secret plan for mass population control. And we feel like the way that they're going about doing it, that we're not realizing, is that they're coming out with like all these theories behind like like think like a man. You got the what else they got? They got the curving guys, got curving girls. It's just like this whole agenda to make us not want to talk to each other or make it so difficult that you just don't give a fuck anymore. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a mass population control theory, like pushing us away from the opposite sex, and it's also alluding to same-sex dating. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because they're pushing the pro LBJQ thing, and it's all of this, and nothing wrong with that. But I just feel like it's like embedded in
They're
social
forcing
media
it.
and all this stuff. So, what's your take on that, Carlos?
It starts with Hollywood. Um, when I was like real younger, when I used to look at all the Hollywood movies about these love stories and stuff like that. I thought it was for real. Then once I grown up and mature, and I'm like, stuff like that doesn't happen. A lot of people don't live happily ever after and stuff like that. And if they do, it's not like all easy going or whatever. It's a roller coaster and stuff. It's consistently. So yeah, it start like Hollywood. You see these actors, and then they're like bigger than life. So you look up to them, and then you forget it's just a fantasy. Well, most of it is a fantasy. So a lot of people, I think that's what it starts off with, relationship movies. So people, especially guys, they look at some movies where they lose the girl and then the guy ends up getting the girl back. A lot of times is, I mean, a lot of reasons why a lot of guys lose the girl is because they need to find someone better or somebody that's, because there's so many other girls you could, if someone leaves you, then they don't like you for that moment, then you find someone better. It's always something new. Just like with jobs.
Yeah, you got
You
a
always
good
find
point about
another job.
the Hollywood thing, and something that I listened to on this other podcast the other day. It was about this movie that's coming out called The Eighth Grade, and pretty much the eighth grade is about obviously someone that's in eighth grade and discovering herself and this and that. But they actually interviewed someone that's actually in the eighth grade, and I guess there's a scene in the movie. It's like the first kiss, and she was saying that it sucks like with movies that have the first kiss in it is because it makes all this expectations of how your first kiss should be, and how your first like intercourse should be and all this, and then when the time comes it's kind of like that's it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
Yeah.
you see your life on the screen your whole life with all these movies, and then when that moment comes um to light in your own life, you have all these expectations, and just you're let down. You know what I mean? So it kind of sucks that you're watching your life on TV, what's about to happen before it happens. You know what I mean? So
And
that's a
we
good
don't
point.
have people to emphasize that is just like a movie. I mean, it's just a movie.
Hmm.
So when you watch different movies and stuff, you're like, wow, this is cool. But you don't have anybody be like, oh, it's just a movie. Great movie, but it's just a movie. It's not real.
Right. And the reason why we think this is part of the whole mass population control is because people are waiting later and later in life to have kids. Which in the
Mhm.
past you start having kids like at what 18, like maybe in your 20s. But if you wait until your late 30s to have a kid, you're only going to have one kid
Yeah.
versus multiple kids when you're starting out early. So it's like a normal household these days are like only child or two kids versus back in the day when you had like farmers and all these other people,
Mhm.
plopping out kids to help out with work around the house to make life more
Yeah.
easier. You're not
More
really
kids, more wealth, more chances of wealth.
right, right. You're not really seeing that anymore because now it's becoming more harder and harder to have a whole family like that and be able to take care of it. So this whole mass population thing is being introduced to us through like media and you know high expectations, just so on and so forth. And there's no way. I don't feel like there's anything that we could do about it besides just be aware of it. And I'm not saying like go out there and have multiple kids and do all this if you're not ready. But I just want you guys to have an eye open out to like what's actually going on within like the use of social media and expectations through movies and stuff like that. How do you feel
And
about that?
it's the legacy thing too. Like you wanna um continue your family. Like let's say you're the only child of your family, you wanna continue on and have kids to keep the family name growing or whatever. But a lot of us aren't wealthy, so a lot of us feel devalued. So you'd be like, oh, my last name is Smith or whatever, and Smith aren't really known to be rich or whatever, or not really wealthy or whatever. So should I continue on with Smith, or does it really matter? Because if you're wealthy, then it really matters. Because marriage,
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole, like you said,
political.
succession of it, like the heir to the throne. Like you got to keep that image going your whole life. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the whole term "keeping up with the Joneses."
Hmm.
Like the Joneses have such high expectations that they got to keep up to like impress everyone. But like you said, if you're like a Smith or any last name, you're like, damn, I want to be like them, so I got to do this. You know what I mean?
And a
So
lot
it's
of
kind of like you feel
people
devalued because you're trying to compare yourself to another lifestyle of someone else.
a lot of people are disconnected with their last names. Like my last name is Campbell, but I'm not Scottish, and I have no connection to Scottish history. So due to slavery, so I'm like, why would I continue being a Campbell? I should like change my last name to something that's more meaningful.
Yeah. So you feel like that has something to do with the population control as well, like devaluing your
Hmm.
okay because you have you
Because all the wealthy people feel valuable, they want to continue to grow their family and continue the legacy
right.
and be remembered.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. Cool, cool.
Like it's weird. I can't imagine being a grandfather, and a lot of people think about like um having like a family reunion, and then you're like a great grandfather, and you're just sitting there looking at all the family together and everything.
Yeah.
People find
So you're
happy.
saying that kind of like motivates you to have more kids because of that? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
people love. I mean, a lot of people love that. It's like closure. It's like wow, I have a big healthy family. Everybody's happy or whatever, and then they live their life. That's their life story. I don't want to live that story. It's
Yeah,
just boring. It's fun, but not for me.
yeah, I get you. I feel like you said, maybe that depends on like the environment you grow up in and this and that. But it also is a part of population control because of stuff that happened, with your family versus someone else, depending on location. You know what I mean? That could do something with it as well.
Divorces.
Yeah, situation and everything like that. And like now, I don't even know what the percentages of divorce, but I'm pretty sure it's really, really high versus back in the day. And I feel like that's another reason for population control too. Is like You know, like you see your parents split up, you don't want to go through that. So, you know what I mean? You're going to wait later in life to settle down, and you may only have one child that whole time. You know what I mean? So, see, like low key population is being controlled like that as well. So, yeah, man.
So we could transition to the Me Too moment
What you got to say about that?
because a lot of women are treated are sexually abused and sexually harassed. So that which is a good thing to be aware about now, especially at this time. So now I like the Me Too movement because now I could go out to a bar or a club or anywhere and I don't have to feel obligated to pursue the girl. I don't have to sit there and talk to her. And it allows women to be straightforward with men instead of giving hints and stuff like that. And it makes everything more neutral and casual versus the guy has to be some asshole just to get the girl. And we already
Yeah.
see it
So
played
like,
out.
with the Me Too movement, you feel like it introduced like a new halfway meeting point,
Yeah.
like the whole idea of guys making the first move was always the reason why, oh, he's a creeper, this and that. Now with the whole Me Too movement, it's kind of like it has to be like a mutual feeling before anyone says anything to each other, right?
Yeah. But with it's weird because with nature we are supposed to be the one to pursue as a man, but we're we're kind of different. We're one with nature, but we're kind of socially different too because we have an ego. So it's like a lot of guys messed it up for a lot of other people. I blame it on the older generation
Yeah,
or whatever.
they're like over aggressive, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because you always hear the stories about the Me Too movement with older guys, like in their 60s or 70s.
Weinstein,
Yeah,
Cosby.
like the old way of thinking, like, oh, I could just say anything I want to. You don't ever really hear any like young males doing something like that. I feel like the only thing that young males probably do is like slide in the DMs. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what's up? Probably keep saying hey, 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 hey over and over. Not getting a reply. I don't know if that falls into the Me Too movement, but I feel like that's a way of a young male being overly aggressive.
And the drugging thing, slipping pills in
Yeah,
girls,
that's
stuff like
OD.
that. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's OD. And like you said, it makes it hard for a lot of like other males to like approach females because you have to beat that status quo, even though you didn't even become a part of it. You got to like prove them wrong or something like that. So yeah, and then also like before we get out of here, um, I feel like another population control is like your whole online persona is like a menu. I could literally click on someone, scroll through their whole uh, Instagram feed or Facebook feed, and I'll know everything about them. And if I ever do get the courage to ask them out, how do you be like, so what's your story? You already know what's going on. You know where they used to work. You know who they hang out with. You know this and that. So that kind of kills the whole conversation there. And then you'll be labeled as, oh, he's boring
Great.
because he don't want to talk or he's a creep. Even if you keep it to yourself, you just playing the game like you know everything that's going on because you scroll through her Instagram and she probably scrolled through yours. You still have to play the role of you don't know what's going on. You be like, so what's your
And
story?
and at the end of the day, the guys is always going to be the creeps, and the women are always going to be hoes. They're always going to be labeled as sluts. They blink their eye. They look
Yeah,
both ways across the street. Slut, slut, slut. A guy blinks his eye. A guy scratches his head. He's a creep.
yeah, sucks, man.
So
But
the best way to get through society, like awkward conversations and stuff like that, is to keep it neutral. So even though you're labeled as a creep or anything, you were like, oh, it was a neutral conversation, and then just keep it moving. But back to population control, I think a lot of people are disconnected with people, antisocial, social media. They seeing all this violent stuff, so they're like really not one. They're immune to like school shootings and shooting and violence and violent movies and stuff and video games, which I play. And
Like
It's
you,
like it's no love. It's no love for humanity. It's just like whatever.
like you said to me earlier, you said like, because you go out a lot and you notice like the reduction of people that actually go out, and we talked about the reason why people are probably staying inside is because it's that threat of something could happen while they go out. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's a club shooting or
Hmm.
a dispute and you get shot, or you could get pulled over by a cop and get shot. Like I just found out about the guy that got killed over the parking spot in Clearwater. That was crazy. Did you know about that?
I saw like a few seconds of it, but I didn't see the full story.
Yeah, that happened in Clearwater. It was kind of crazy because that hit kind of close to home. But like now people are going to be so afraid to leave their house to get into like an argument or anything like that. So it's kind of like what's that movie called? Minority Report. It's kind of like a pre-crime cursor. Like you're going to avoid every situation to stay out of trouble. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we're paranoid to go out because that could happen. You know what I mean? So that's another reason behind population control is people becoming recluse and just staying
Oh
inside.
yeah, mental illness too. A lot of people have depression, anxiety all
Yeah,
over Facebook, and they're real vocal about their mental awareness. I mean, their mental diseases, but they're not really doing anything. It's like they're digging themselves in a hole. They're like, "Oh, I have anxiety, I have anxiety, I have anxiety." And then you have to like it's good to like talk with people and relate to it about it, but you gotta like switch the subject. Don't even call it anxiety.
yeah,
Change the definition, then like move forward from there. But people still stuck in this whole mental disease thing, so they don't feel worthy or compatible with other people, which is weird because there's a lot of people that have a lot of problems just like them or even more. So yeah, it's a big disconnection, and yeah, it's part of the population control. I don't know what they're gonna do if they have a lot of if we have like let's say a third of our population now because they want to control everything. They pretty much well that's they're telling on themselves then. If they're trying to do that, then that means they don't have control right now,
yeah. They're
which
paranoid.
is weird. So when they looking through our phones and NSA and stuff like that, they really can't keep up with us. So that's the only good sign of it is
Yeah, we're coming. We're being
they're
too.
struggling.
There's too many numbers to keep track of right now. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. That was another episode of The Break. Let us know what you think about mass population control. If we missed any other way they're trying to control our population and so on and so forth, please leave a comment in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to The Break with James and Carlos. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Peace.
Peace.